invite Shri Keshav Chandra ji, former Railway Board member, Indian Railways. Shri Keshav Chandra, in his near 4 decades of career with the Railways, led several multidisciplinary teams in different capacities, culminating in working as a board member, head of the Mechanical and Stores Department, and ex-officio secretary to the Government of India. He was chairman, RITES, a multidisciplinary consultancy organization specializing in diverse fields such as transport, infrastructure, and related technologies. As executive director, quality assurance, RDSO, Lucknow, was responsible for manufacturing of new rolling stock to the tune of rupees 20,000 crores annually. And we are honored to have you here with us today, sir. A warm welcome to you. May I now invite Shri Manish Agarwal, Head Rail Infrastructure Mobility, Siemens Limited. Shri Manish Agarwal is the Head Rail Infrastructure, Signaling and Telecommunications Mobility Siemens Limited, has held various responsible positions across business development, project management, sales in India and abroad. And in the year 2001 was responsible for the introduction of Siemens portfolio in mass transit for the first time in India and was successful with the Delhi Metro signaling and telecom order for Line 3. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Inviting Shri Tribhuvan Darbari, Chairman, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, Business Council Secretariat, Managing Director and CEO Texmaco Defense System, and Chief Executive CBD Texmaco Rail and Engineering Limited, Resident Director, Advanced Group Fertilizer Companies, Paradeep Phosphates Limited, Zuari Agrochemicals Limited, and Mangalore Chemicals and Fertilizers Limited, Managing Director, Rustec Development Private Limited, Chairman, India-Russia Joint Business Council, Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, FICCI. And Mr. Darbari has around 37 years of unique, rich, and diversified experience in the Government of India, public sector enterprises, corporate sector, including the 5 Fortune 500 companies. A warm welcome to you, sir. May I invite Shri Kaushal Kodhesia, Executive Director, Railways, KEC International Limited. He's currently heading the Railways business at KEC International Limited. With a tenure of over 30 years at KEC, he previously led the T&D business of the company and brings with him more than 35 years of extensive experience in managing large-scale infrastructure projects across power and transport sectors, and is also an executive member of railway committees of CII and FICCI. A very warm welcome to you, sir. May I invite Shri Yuvraj Sehgal, Senior Consultant, Tata Consultancy Services Limited, who has over 24 years of global experience in the railways shipping and logistics sectors, holding various leadership and advisory roles and working with customers in the US, UK, and Europe. And his current role, Mr. Yuvraj spearheads multiple strategic initiatives and works closely with TCS global railway customers with a keen interest in the rapidly evolving generative AI space. He explores innovative use cases for customers. A very warm welcome to you, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, I have the privilege in inviting our distinguished moderator, Shri Jugal Kishore Bhattiji. He is the former additional General Manager, RITES Limited, and has 36 years of vast experience. Formerly was Additional General Manager at RITES Limited, and has worked in 3 metro projects, namely Jaipur Metro, Noida Metro, and Pune Metro, and was associated in DPR projects on Agra, Kanpur, Meerut, and Varanasi. In addition, has experience in airports, highways, remodeling of yards and sidings, integrated check post along India international border, multimodal logistics rail transport hub, rail connectivity of yard with DFCCL and Indian Railways, etc., and is also acting as chief advisor and giving technical inputs to other companies. In addition to above, Shri Bhattiji at various conferences has presented topics as speaker, VIP speaker and panelist and moderator. And today we are honored to have you, sir, as our distinguished moderator for this very important session. And may I hand over to you?
First of all, I am really thankful to Mr. Ashok Goyal, Chairman, Rail Analysis, and Mr. Tarmeer Goyal, Director Rail Analysis, who has given me opportunity to speak at this 5th edition of Rail and Metro Technology Conclave 2024. I also welcome all the eminent panelists who will also be the part of today's panel discussion. Before I start, let me tell that today we are having diverse set of eminent speakers from Indian Railways, Texmaco, Siemens, KEC, and one of the our eminent panelists from Railtel Corporation. By chance he is busy and he is not able to join today. They all possess the vast knowledge in Indian Railways, infrastructure, signal telecommunication, power transmission, marketing, PMC, at mega projects, both at national and international level. I will be moderating this session. Madam has already explained, I am former additional general manager for RITES. I have worked in RITES for 35 years. I am BE Civil, MTech from IIT Delhi in construction management. And I have also done MBA in finance from Indira Gandhi National Open University. The RITES has nominated me, then I did international executive diploma in project management from George Washington University, USA. I have worked almost in all the 10 years for metros, then airports, highways, waterways, roads, whatever you call arbitration tender. In 35 years, I have worked more or less in all these projects. Now, before I ask views of the eminent panelists, let me start with the session, with the context of the session. Our today's topic is latest developments in Amrit Bharat and Amrit Rail Station Scheme, Signal Telecommunication and Infrastructure. Member Infrastructure, Mr. Anil Kumar Khandelwal, he has already explained so many things about Amrit Bharat Station, then Amrit Rail Station, cover technology. But even then, let me set some context. So far as the Amrit Bharat Station scheme is concerned, its aim was to enhance and modernize railway stations throughout Indian railway network. Government of India, they have planned 1,322 stations they have marked, and as per Honorable Prime Minister of India, initially they have only marked 553 railway stations, which are coming in 27 states and union territories. They may be transformed into vibrant city centers with modern facilities. Now coming to Amrit Rail Station scheme, you are aware its aim was to enhance major stations into world-class hubs on the Indian Railways. So far as the S&T system is concerned, we all are aware that for safe and efficient operation of the Indian railway system, signal telecommunication plays an important role. Therefore, Government of India, they have planned Kavach technology in year 2020 with the help of the RDSO in association with 3 other Indian vendors. And it has been adopted as a national automatic train protection system, that is ATP system. Now coming to infrastructure, we all are aware that infrastructure is the backbone on any country. Hence, Indian government, they are planning to increase and expand this infrastructure all over the country. Now, we are aware that member infrastructure already explained that India is having 68,000 rail network, and we are the fourth largest in the world so far as the rail network in India is concerned. Now, we are also laying 14 kilometers of track per day. If I multiply 14 with 365, it is coming 5110. And if you see in Switzerland, the whole of the rail network in Switzerland is 5063 kilometers. It means every year we are adding equivalent of one Switzerland in Indian as a rail system. Earlier, Government of India, they have spent 1.7% of the GDP, and it was twice the level of the USA. Now, recently, Government of India has allocated 3.3% of GDP in the railway system. Now, yesterday's budget, if you have gone through it, the net revenue expenditure for railways has set 2,78,500 crores, and it is 20 crores extra if I compare to the previous budget. Now, studies indicate that if we invest 1 rupees in infrastructure, we are getting 3 times of the GDP. With the present GDP of 4.11, we are We are the fifth largest economy in the world, and it is expected by 2030 we may cross the Germany and USA and will become the third largest country in the world. India is also planning to be a developed country by 2047. Now, without taking much time, I will straightway go to the panelists, and in parallel, I request all this audience that they can please note down their questions, then the questions will be asked to the respective panelists when I will conclude this session. You will be given roughly 10 to 15 minutes, depending upon the time. Mr. Anil Kumar Khandelwal, he was our, in fact, panelist, but by chance he has to leave early because he was busy in some other assignments. That is why we are now I am starting with second panelist. Our second panelist is Mr. Manish Agarwal, Head Rail Infrastructure Mobility Siemens Limited. He has 27 years experience in BD PMC sales in India and abroad, responsible for S&T business in transportation sector in India. Siemens is technology company focused on industry infrastructure, digital information, transmission, generation of electronic power. Mr. Manish Agarwal, my question starts now. Pir Panjal range is situated in disputed Kashmir region, and Pir Panjal is longest railway tunnel in J&K. Siemens have electrified this longest railway tunnel as part of Jammu Udhampur Baramulla railway line project. Please share some insights into this project. Mr. Manish.
The project is special for us. It's in a special area. It's also a first time that the railway is using something called a rigid catenary. A rigid catenary is used in tunnels because the normal catenary, which is the wire on top of the railway line, is, let's say, more flexible and requires more space. But if in a tunnel where you're spending so much money to make a tunnel, you really don't want to make a larger tunnel, so you make the smallest possible tunnel. And in the smallest possible tunnel, what fits is something called a rigid catenary. The rigid catenary is introduced now for the first time in India, and that also in a very special area. We are very proud of that. And the project is completed. The train has started to run on that. And that is what is special about the project. Bhatti Sahib, if there's something more I can say, but that is special. It's the first time, it's in a special area, and it is specifically for tunnels.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, man. I will come to you, sir. Now we are having another panelist, Mr. Tribhuvan Darbari, Chairman of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, Business Council Secretariat, MD and CEO of Texmaco Defense Systems, and Chief Executive Texmaco Rail and Engineering. Mr. Darbari has worked as VC of CMC under Ministry of Information and Technology from 1993 to 2001, and Vice President of TCS CMC 2001 to 2008, and Director HP. Shri Darbari is having 35 years experience in strategy, BD, operation, PMC, and many more, and worked at levels of Deputy Secretary, Director, Joint Secretary in Government of India, GM, VP, Director, and CEO under 5 Fortune 500 corporations, that is ONG, Tata Steel Group, etc. Sir, my question starts now. We understand that as Chairman, as CEO, Business Council Secretariat, India, and Chairman, India-Russia Business Council, FICCI, your focus is on establishing vibrant industry academia alliances in the transportation and logistics sectors. Can you share some recent steps in this direction? Mr. Darbari, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bhatti. I will start with this. I've always been very keen to promote industry-academia partnership. And aligning industry expectations with academia through effective partnerships is indeed becoming more relevant today. with the pace of industrial and infrastructural growth, both globally and domestically. I think all of you are aware, all of us are aware, yesterday's thrust on the budget on skills upgradation, capacity building. While we talk about productivity and aligning railways with the infrastructure growth with the GDP, at the bottom of it is producing skilled manpower who will drive this innovation and productivity. There is a tremendous amount of academic research that can be used to advance industry, and conversely, industry can fund research that is relevant to its goals. This is why we emphasize on a strong partnership. In this context, I was there for the SCO Business Council board meeting in Kazakhstan recently, and the whole focus was on how to grow this vibrant relationship. And where I shared that the entire success of the information technology revolution from 90s onwards has been on producing the right skills at the right time, proactively, and this holds very important for our drive for railway modernization and infrastructure growth. I took this further with my recent visit to the St. Petersburg State Transport University in Moscow, in St. Petersburg. And I would like to share with all of you, it's a 300-year-old university, and this concept of specialized university on transportation, where we are now proud to have the Gati Shakti Vidyalaya, and I think Professor is here, the Vice Chancellor. And this university has now growing rapidly under the chancellorship of our Honorable Railway Minister, who is the Chancellor of the GSV. And I could take this opportunity of my visit there to have a very meaningful dialogue and affected 3 MOUs between Texmeco, the Federal Railway Transport Agency of St. Petersburg, and the Gati Shakti Vidyalaya. And this, I see a tremendous synergy, which is essential for a vibrant exchange program, technical knowledge, soft skills. And yesterday, I think all of us were told very clearly the focus we saw on skills and building internships, having meaningful internships, building skills, and how this trained manpower, the workforce, would contribute to the growth of the infrastructure. What is important is that we are aware that the PM's Gati Shakti plan is driven by 7 engines in unison. That's railways, roads, ports, waterways, airports, mass transportation, and logistics. All have to be seen as an integrated whole. And the Russian side was indeed very impressed with this national master plan. And we have taken it up in a positive manner, this industry-academia partnership, and propose to grow this not only with the fraternity of the SCO nations, which totally are comprising of about 22 nations. So we take it forward from here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for nice words, sir. You have given well insights of this. Now we are having another member, Mr. Keshav Chandar, former Railway Board member, Indian Railways. Sir is 1985 batch IRSE officer and also was GM, NFR and member Railway Board. He is also associated with voluntary blood donation movement, having donated blood more than 80 times since 1976. Sir, blood donation, a noble cause, is invaluable, priceless, and a lifesaver. Sir, your unwavering dedication and exemplary leadership in Indian Railway will continue to be source of inspiration for everyone. My question starts now, sir. What have been some of the new challenges in project tendering in India, in railway sector? Can you highlight some areas which need to be addressed and some possible solutions?
Yeah, there's one challenge in project management is which I call COC, Challenge of Challenges, is a word which I've coined for myself to keep a check on myself. See, whenever you do the pre-qualification of a product, of a company, or whatever services you want, that has to be done in a very, very complete, accurate, up-to-date fashion. You can't just get away by saying, well, I'm conversant with the issue, I know all the pros and cons. No, you have to go way, way beyond it. You have to see the national scenario, the international scenario, and then frame your pre-qualification requirements. While as a member of the tender committee, you should be able to carry the team with you. And carrying the team doesn't mean just a nice, sweet talk with them. No, every point should be explained to the finance member well in advance. Same with the other member of the committee. It should also be explained to the final accepting authority and some of the powers that be. Mind you, there can be, after you have made a final call for the pre-qualification, there can be issues with that. Even when you've decided on it and floated the tender and people have responded to it in a big way, there will be murmurs, there'll be queries, there'll be all sorts of issues. But you should be able to stand up to that because you've done your homework well. So this is my request, and mind you, even the most obdurate, the most obstinate, and the most challenging of persons you ever come to meet amongst your peers or your seniors, you should be able to challenge them with all the homework that you've done. And learn that in life, it's very important to say a no, but no should be with a reason. Even your grandson, if you tell him just no, it's not going to be like this, he jumps on you and he says, no, I'll do the opposite thing. So it's a very, very important thing that you get this challenge of challenges, the pre-qualification done extremely well. A few things way beyond that, I'll just talk in a quick fashion. It's not just in this thing, but when it comes to dealing with a company which is coming for the first time in India, multi-million-dollar company. And I and my peers and my friends, we often discuss several issues. There was a company in the last couple of years, it was entering India for the first time. And after they had decided to take the plunge, it was a few billion-dollar contract, they suddenly opened up and said, well, what is the vendor base in India? It's not really tangible and this thing. Then look, we had to explain it to them that in 1962, we got the Scleren design, the Swiss design for the coaches from Europe. And we developed vendors, not just in and around Chennai, but all the way to Howrah and Mumbai and Amritsar. Then same year around, we got the diesel electric locos. Again, a fantastic vendor base was developed. Same was the case with the electric locos when we got ABB and then came Alstom and Siemens. What I'm trying to say is that one is, whenever you're confronted with such issues, you can play them down. You can give a wishy-washy answer, or you can put it under the carpet. No, you have to face it up front and tell the other guy, look, these are the facts. Whether it's Indian Railways or any country across the world, what you have, you should be able to explain your point of view well, and not just do a sweetie talk and get away with it. You'll get nowhere. One other quick thing I will also like to share. Sometimes, I'm now talking from the other side, sometimes the estimate given by the Ministry of Railways or the Government of India is that a particular estimated cost is there, and then somebody will jump upon you and say, look, it's too much on the lower side. No, you have to explain them the complete cost dynamics, the details, and then they'll come around to accepting, because there have been very many cases when people, when handling tenders, they lament that, look, this is going to be a losing proposition. No, you explain them that, okay, whatever cost estimates you have, why is it that the whole of Europe is now slowly moving towards countries like Hungary, Romania, Slovakia, but why? And India too, just for the simple reason that the technology is developed, the vendor base is huge, and the costs are controlled. So I just wanted to share one or two of these points, and we've encountered very many of them. And one last point I'll take, Bhartiji. Again, in the last few years, we had a case of a multinational, several billion-dollar company. Now, one of the ministries was looking for a design to be adopted by the government and then multiplied several thousands times across India. Now, that multinational, the IP was to be shared with the concerned ministry. Now, that multinational was slightly shy on that, saying that, look, I'll not be able to do that. It's so exclusive to us. But then I just explained them a very simple parallel logic I gave them. I know of a singer, a great singer, who also dabbled in acting. But acting-wise, he was just chucked out from the Bollywood or Hollywood or whatever. So now people, the production house, he had a good voice also, they walked up to him and said, look, you lend your voice for that actor. So this guy was grumpy and he didn't lend his voice. He said, now that guy will shine and I'll remain here. Ultimately, you know what happened to that singer? That singer neither became an actor because he was not fit for it, nor did he become known as a singer. So I explained this logic to that multinational, a few billion-dollar company, and they agreed to it. I said, come out, come. There's nothing to feel shy about. And if an IP is being shared by the government of India and proliferated, it's your name and fame. So I just wanted to make some of these offhand remarks which come to my mind. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for insight, sir. So now next question I am asking from you, sir, on Kavach technology. Kavach technology. Why asking this question? If you see yesterday, although it was a budget session, but I have observed there were nearly 500 delegates here. And 500 delegates were here yesterday. Now today you have seen a gathering, huge gathering here. My question is, for the opportunity of the industry. Now my question starts now. Indian Railways aims to implement Kavach system across 44,000 kilometers in 5 years. Can you please provide us insight into the opportunity for the industry and how they participate in such a major initiative?
Okay, I'll quickly answer.
Question is clear, sir?
Yeah, very clear.
Right, sir.
See, for all of us, we broadly know technology. So there are 5 components to the Kavach. And in one line, They are the OFC, the Kavach towers, the trackside equipment, the loco equipment, and the data centers. Nothing great shake. And they are there all across the world, wherever you have such equipment, CTCS and whatever you have. Now, there are 3 manufacturers to it, and 2 more are in the offing. So Indian Railways is fully geared up to do this Kavach work. But now some people stand up and say, well, this Kavach, how long it's going to take, where's the money? Would you believe it that in this very budget, if you look at it closely, the money has been provided. There's 2,62,000 crores as against those 34,000 that we were getting when we were in the board, is way ahead. Money is there. If you wish to do 35,000, 40,000, 50,000 kilometers this year, it would ultimately cost us about 40,000, 50,000 CR. The money is right there. Only 2 things are constraining us. One is the number of manufacturers. And when you say 2 are in the offing, it doesn't mean it's a product which you just provide on a platter and say, come on. No, those people will be tested out in their labs, in our labs, and then in the field for good 30 months. So it's a long process. So the money is there, and more people can come in with all these 5 items. Nobody stops them. And it's a great work to be done, and we must support it. Everyone, the industry, the government, the officers, all of us must support it. It's a great initiative, and I really respect people like in the board actually gone ahead and done the homework and the invention to it. Because we've seen it from very close and how it has moved at a snail's pace, and the pace which it has picked up in the last 3-4 years is absolutely amazing.
Sir, as I understand that Indian government with the collaboration of RDSO, they have already finalized 3 vendors for Kavach technology. It is finalized or still under process? It is finalized.
Finalize the specifications also.
Okay, sir.
Finalize the specifications literally in the last month or so.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, I will come back to you, sir. Now, we are having another panelist, Mr. Kaushal Kodesia, ED Railways, KEC International. As an electrical engineer, he is having 35-year experience in power and transport sector, currently heading the railway business at KEC International. He is also an executive member of Railway Committee at CII and FICCI. In past, has served as founder chairman of Railway Business Division in IEEMA. Sir, KEC is India's 2nd largest manufacturer of electric power transmission tower and EPC companies in the world. Has delivered project more than 100 countries. My question start now. India is also now a manufacturing and solution provider for railway projects. How do you see opportunity for Indian companies to participate in global projects and provide solutions in other developing nations for their railway network? Do you see for the indigenous technology being exported to other overseas countries? Yes.
So the opportunities are very large. But the way Indian railway infrastructure is developing, there is a lot of in-house development is also taking place. TICAS is one example of that. But SNT, again, we have very good expertise available in India. So I'm not very sure about these technologies being exported to developed countries, but countries which are under development, maybe in Africa, maybe in SAARC region, most of the Indian companies would be able to work there. In fact, we have also got one job recently in Bangladesh, where we are taking the technology from India only. So the opportunities are large. There is absolutely no dearth of the opportunities. And luckily for us, the railway network is not growing only in India, but it is growing in many countries. And most of the countries are now looking for the cost-effective solutions. and India is becoming the hub for those cost-effective solutions. And therefore, I see a very large opportunity for Indian companies to work in international market. And to be very frank, it is one of our strategy to find ways and move into the international market and start doing at least 25% of our business from international railway projects.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for the insight, sir. Now we are having another panelist, Mr. Yuvraj Sehgal, Senior Consultant, TCS. He is having 20 years experience in IT, currently focusing on global railway segment in TCS. Mr. Yuvraj, my question start now. Can you provide us an insight into the footprint of Tata Consultancy Services in the railway and metro sector of India?
Okay, thank you. So in a sharp, from TCS side, I think it's more than 45 years we are serving railways. Our journey started with, in fact, Indian Railways, building the initial reservation systems, the FOI system for the Indian Railways. Today we are serving more than 20 customers across globe. And our prime focus, I would say, today is, one is data. We have a lot of data in the railways ecosystem, how to get value out of data, meaningful value, and then making it available in open space so that innovation can happen. And recently we did a very innovative work with the UK government there, and where the whole open data platform is being enabled, and the whole industry is actually now publishing data, it's being consumed, and that vision is being happening. And same traction, same lines we are seeing in India as well. So that is one area. The other three pillars are assets. So a lot of investments in assets, particularly applying, again, the digital technologies, whether through AI or IoT or now generative AIs, how to really get predictive insights about the health of the data and making ensure that it is up and running. You know that railways are working on it, but far from the potential. So that is the second area. The third is operations optimization, like in terms of capacity optimization or a network and other important functions of operations. And the fourth is passenger experience. And within that is how to ensure that passengers get comfort in terms of connectivity, in terms of seamless travel, and all sort of personalized experience for the passengers. So these are the areas we are particularly focusing on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I will come back to you, sir. Now I again coming to Mr. Tribhuvan Trivedi ji. Sir, my question start now. Texmaco has evolved into an end-to-end railway solutions company. Can you elaborate and highlight innovative modernization initiative and collaborations which Texmaco is focusing on?
Yeah, it's very important to highlight that how Texmaco, which is today a global flagship heavy engineering manufacturing company of the US dollars 3.5 billion Advance Group, how it has evolved from one of the most reliable freight car makers over the past 8 decades. And freight cars serving a host of core industries like cement, steel, defense, the flatbed. For the first time, it was designed to carry the tanks and the very innovative designs. So we are constantly in the company, there is a realization that we need to evolve and improve on the design to match the requirements of the new generation rolling stock. Now, for this, we have a very sagacious, wise group chairman, Mr. Saroj Poddar, who had really facilitated a lot of joint ventures, strategic alliances with companies from Japan, US, UK, Germany, Australia, Austria, Holland. And, this was basically for developing and expanding the product portfolio. And it is his vision, the chairman's vision, that from a freight car producer. With the acquisition of Kalandi Rail Nirman Engineers in 2017, the company, stepped into EPC contracts for railways and metros, specializing in track work, railway signaling, telecom, metro track works, which was further accentuated with the takeover of the Bright Power Projects India Private Limited. And today, the Bright Power, which is a part of Texmaco, is an EPC company incorporated, specializing in OHE solutions for the railways, which are, again, very, very important in terms of developing the overall network and modernization. Whole focus has been on how to reduce the costs, enhance safety, through various improvised designs. And I would like to share two very recent things. Of course, everybody knows about our partnership with Wabtec, one of the leading corporations in the US, and how Texmaco was, in its earlier days, approved by the AAA as one of the few suppliers of components to the US market, to the North American market. It was a very rare thing in those days. However, today, keeping in view the pace of modernization, we have, negotiated, and it's now operational, a joint venture with the Slovakian firm Nürnberg, which is a part of 40,000 crore conglomerate AZC Orbis. This is a Slovakian company. These countries here, Slovak, Hungary, Czech, they have very good high technology into railways. And we took this first opportunity to negotiate this joint venture. And basically, it was for the emerging requirements of rolling stock, not only in our country, but for exports, re-export, and for overseas markets. In this connection, I would also like to mention about the collaboration for light aluminum wagon production with Hindalco for producing lightweight wagons, thereby reducing emissions, enhancing efficiency, and which basically demonstrates Texmaco's commitment to environmental sustainability. It is through such strategic, timely interventions and collaborations that Texmaco has kept itself in the forefront of the railway modernization and is assisting the Indian Railways in a large measure to carry forward the modernization plans. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir, I will come back to you. Thanks for the insights. Sir, my next question is to Mr. Manish Agarwal. Sir, what are the new opportunities for major S&T OEMs, such as Siemens, presented by Indian market today? Can you share insights on your present footprint in India and expansion plans?
The signaling landscape is exciting. Mr. Khandelwal showed it before. The amount of stations which will get into electronic interlocking, the amount of auto signaling which will happen is significant and is at a pace which was not seen before. So for companies like us, Siemens, who are doing a lot of signaling and telecom work on the railway, it's going to be a nice time in terms of market. It's going to be a bad time in terms of delivery, because we will have to deliver at a very, very fast pace. And also, since there's going to be so much of, let's say, market, we will also see a lot of new players coming in. There's also exciting time for the complete industry. So what will come is Kavach, National ATP, that will come, is already come. A lot of auto signaling will come. A lot of stations which are pending will get into electronic interlocking. More what will come is how to network and connect these assets. So that will also come, that how to, let's say, make them talk to each other, how to make them more intelligent, and how to use the data which is coming out from various track assets to prevent any accident from happening on the network. Because there is always some kind of a indicator available within the installed systems of railway today, which can give let's say, an early warning, or let's say a sufficient time gap to prevent some accident. That's going to be the big thing which is going to happen. For us, Siemens, we are present in all spaces. We are doing electronic interlocking across the country. We have more than 1,000 stations across the country. We are doing automatic signaling. Let's say, in the last 1.5, 2 years, some 6,000 kilometers would have been ordered, and we would have got 2,000 of that. So we are in very good space at this moment of time. Kavach we are trying to develop. We don't have the so-called the National ATP system of India. We do have ETCS, level 1, level 2, level 3, but that's a European system. And we are now in the process of developing it for the Indian Railway, and we hope that we will have a prototype ready by this year end to show to the railway. And we would like to enter the so-called networked asset space. We have done some prototyping with the railway. We have shown it to the industry. We have shown it to our competitors in the last conference of signaling in December last year. And so we are there. We are going forward. We would like to do that. And another opportunity which will emerge is cybersecurity. How to make, let's say, the signaling assets which are going to be connected, or even today when they're not fully connected, they have to be cyber secure. That's an emerging market where we are present, but let's say the market is yet to mature completely there, but cybersecurity will be a big thing. That's my take on how the signaling market will evolve in the next 3 to 5 years. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now, my next question is Mr. Yuvraj. It is regarding budget session announced yesterday. What are your views on railways allocation in the union budget announced yesterday on 23rd July 2024?
Okay. I think a quick take is railways are the backbone of India's economy and for the transportation sector. And though there was not very exclusive mention about railways, but I think the budget was maintained to the expectation. I think about 2.62 to 2.65 lakh crore being dedicated. And very interesting and very, I would say, connecting thing is, yesterday I heard that around 1.08 lakh crore dedicated for Kutch. So safety is very important. And otherwise, I see that it's very progressive, keeping last 3 years in mind, because around 6.5 lakh crore was being dedicated to this. And so overall, I feel it is in line with the larger vision for India. And so quite happy with overall the pitch and the tone of the budget. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Sir, now I am asking one common question. Now, this will be my last question. Now, I am having more couple of questions. After this, it will be open to audience. Sir, I will be asking one common question to Mr. Tribhuvan Darbari, Mr. Manish Agarwal, and Mr. Kaushal Kudeshia. My question is, Kavach is becoming increasingly adopted across railway network in India. Yes. How can Texmaco, Siemens, and KEC and its domestic expertise support this development? You can start, yes, sir. After that,
So our role as an EPC player in Kavach is the execution. So we are the execution arm. So like sir was talking about 5 elements of Kavach, OFC tower, and trackside. These are the 3 elements where we can work. The rest of the 2 elements where we are talking about the station Kavach and the data center, that's not our area. So actually, if people like us and people like Siemens or Texmaco join hands, together we can complement each other and execute the Kavach. And that's what exactly we are trying to do for implementation of Kavach. We already are doing 2 projects of Kavach with one of the OEM. But there is a pitfall in which we have to address that. Sir has already talked about it in short. we are seeing that 2014 to 2024, in 10 years, 44,000 kilometers of the railway electrification was done. And my numbers may not be, I don't have the right numbers, but at least for 20% of that was done by us. And therefore, we are aware what kind of challenges we face when this kind of exponential growth take place on any of the segment. There are two major challenges which comes across. One, the vendor base, which Sir has talked about. And the second, the skilled manpower, which Darwari Sahab talked about. We, from EPC contractor side, can take care of the skill availability. The manufacturing has to be taken up by the OEMs. And we have to enhance the capacities. And there are two ways of enhancing the capacities. We can enhance the capacities of the existing vendors, and we can introduce new vendors. And we have to work on both. If we have to take care of this kind of exponential growth in Kavach and 1.08 lakh crore rupees of money to be spent over next 5 years, all the three elements has to work. We have to enhance the capacity of existing vendors, we have to introduce new vendors, and we have to arrange for the skilled manpower.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Manish, would you like to add?
All of us are trying to, let's say, follow the growth which is set in the Kavach program now. The history is there to see electrification. If 10 years back people would have said we'll do 5,000 kilometers in a day, it was not something people believed. Because at that time people were doing 300 kilometers in a year. But it happened in the last 3, 4, 5 years that we did 5,000 kilometers also. And the same thing is happening in automatic signaling, but the people are believing. Kavach is a little bit more complicated than conventional signaling or conventional electrification. It's the two blocks which Mr. Kodesia passed over to the OEM are complicated blocks in which really how the train will move and how the train will stop are controlled. And a rollout program of this size will take its own, it will have its own pains. And this pains is what we are going through. We are also executing a Kavach project together with one of the existing OEMs, and it's a painful process. We are doing it as a learning process for us so that we can get more into the understanding of how the Indian Railway and Kavach on the Indian Railway will work. At the end of it, the technology is available across the world, but it has to be reconfigured as per the Indian Railway requirement, and it is complex. Allow me a minute more. It is very rare in most parts of the world that we will run freight trains, passenger trains, suburban trains, all together on the same track. Some of these trains will be with Kavach, some will be without Kavach in the starting phases. The traffic configuration is so complex that is going to be the single largest challenge which will come when we do Kavach. Secondly, many of our stations do not have electronic interlocking. Half of them don't have. And to create a connectivity from the older mechanical stations to, let's say, a solid state system called ATP Kavach will bring own concepts. So it all has to go together. The station interlocking, the automatic signaling, and the Kavach, they will all go together. And there's a huge space. People will do, we will make it Kavach by the year end, hopefully. Hopefully, I said hopefully because it should work also in the setup here. And I guess there are 3 today, 2 in the offing, 3 more, including us who are developing, and there's space for 5 more. So there's a lot of space for Kavach, and people should come and develop that. That's my thought about it.
Thank you, sir. Darwari Sahab, can you please add on?
Yes. Bhatti Sahab, what I feel is that this is a tremendous opportunity for the industry to come together, both public and private sector, leverage synergies, and take up this challenge. Railway safety is today of utmost importance, and our friend from TCS has just highlighted the budget figures as well on the safety part. And member infrastructure talked about Kavach, and that there is no end to how we can go ahead in a fast-track manner. The emphasis of the Honorable Railway Minister on Kavach and its speedy implementation in a very systematic manner is a very big force for the industry. And it is the industry which should now leverage the synergies and come to this, take up this clarion call and, you know, in its own way, when we talk about synergies, we have something to contribute, they have something to contribute, all of us have to join hands and take up this challenge, and that will be the key success factor.
Thank you very much, sir.